While searching for unique traps, I found something like a very unique trap which is called the Bahar Gambit, and it starts with either f4 or you can play knight c3. The main motive of this video is to tell you guys how unique this gambit is, and moreover I found one game where some 2000 rated players was playing, and the white pieces tried this Bahar Gambit but with a different angle, and I will tell you what was the result. So guys, let's go with this. This is Shubham Kumar, your host. Let's start our video. We are going to discuss what is the Bahar Gambit. I will just show you a simple line and then we will look on that match, that how Bahar Gambit actually works on the match, and then I will tell you my verdict. Is this gambit worth playing or not? So let's go with this. The Bahar Gambit usually works or starts with knight to this c3 maneuver. It's called what? The Von Geet opening. The moment your opponent plays e5, because they won't play d4, it's the traditional move, you will play d4 and then transfer this into Chigorin defense kind of thing. After e5 you will play f4, they will take and you play king to f2. It's called the Bahar Gambit mainline. It's very unique trap guys, and I don't even like this trap, but it works pretty well because the most played move here, it's queen h4. You can look in the database guys, it's queen h4 the most played move. The moment we have queen h4, we play g3, hitting on this queen, hitting on the pawn. So pawn captures, and then don't take this pawn because then you will lose your rook, therefore just move your king instead. They capture the pawn, and then we have rook captures the pawn, queen is under attack, queen moves away with a check, king moves away. Now guys, our king was at e1, now it's at h1, so it's actually very safe, but only till this bishop is in the captivity. The moment this bishop release himself, like after this b6 then bishop, this will be very problematic for us, so you have to take care of this. Moreover, you have to unleash your all the pieces as well to attack the queen and to deal with this dark square bishop. So guys, let's see how white is gonna deal with this. Let's say black hits our rook, we will hit their queen instead, so that's actually good for us. In this condition, most people plays queen f4. That's the most played move. But what will happen if they play queen h4 instead? You all know it's a bishop check, bishop captures, and then our opponent will lose his queen. So it's good for us. But let's discuss the most played move. It's queen f4, the most played move. In this condition, what you have to play? It's knight to f3. Why? Because there was a threat of checkmate in one move. Now let's say develop, and then we will play d3, just controlling this dark square diagonal, also hitting on the queen. So queen comes to g3, and guys, in this condition it's very important to play bishop f5, not to control this h7 but to control this h3 square. Why? For example, if your opponent tries to attack your bishop by playing g6, you will directly attack their queen and the queen is trapped. So guys, that's the beauty of this Bahar Gambit. It's basically kind of a unique game in which you have to place your king from e1 to h1 all the way, and you just forget about all your queen side pieces, just play along with the king side only, and it's chess, anything can happen. So guys, this was the gambit, and let's see in real match how does it perform. So this is a match between like two 2000 rated players, and the white player started with f4. It's called what? The bird opening, and then he will transpose it by knight c3, the Bahar Gambit. Black plays e5, a direct attack. White plays knight c3. It's called the Bahar Gambit. As you understand, it's knight c3 and f4 against e5, so that's the same thing. Black took, and then we have knight f3. It's actually a kind of a twist and turn basically, because the main move was king f2, but maybe that white thought like it would be like problematic to deal with queen h4 attacks. Therefore he played knight f3 first to defend this h4 square. Later then d4 will come and the bishop will capture the pawn. So it's actually a very fine move. It's fine. Then knight development, we have d3 instead of d4. Then we have pawn to d5. Bishop captures. Bishop is now well developed, kind of a London system position. That's fine. d4, knight b5, attacking on this weak c7 where bishop and knight both are actually attacking. It's the same motif used in Jobawa London system where bishop and knight to c3 works very fast and attacks on this weak square, kind of a fried liver attack. So in return, black played d5, controlling this square and also hitting on the bishop. So we have queen c1 defending this bishop, we have c5, c4, and we have capture. This is called the en passant. Knight moves backwards, attacking this knight, and we have knight capture the bishop, queen capture the bishop, we have knight c6. Right now the position is actually very fine. The black is just ahead by 0.6 rating, so it's actually normal position. But the main turn occurs when white played knight g5. It's a very straightforward attack on the f7 square, and like there are tons of ways through which black can defend this attack. The most precise move is f6, attacking on this knight, forcing the knight to move twice in a row. Like it's only the 11th or 12th move in which white does not even have castled yet. Like his development is not even complete and his knight has to move twice in a row. Knight moves away, then we have f5, and now it's time for the knight to move third time. It's not a good omen in chess to move your piece thrice or twice in the opening phase. So referring this situation, white plays knight b5 because the queen was actually covering the c7, so knight c7 would be a good fork here on the king and this rook, but that turns to be a very problematic or very bad move by the white player. It's basically because the rook is dormant now. You understand, this rook is doing nothing. It's not putting pressure on this white king. It's not doing anything, not even defending anything. It's just a dormant piece. So controlling this rook instead of defending our important knight, because knights are very important and good in the middle game phases, but right now white has simply abandoned his active piece and went for the dormant piece. That's actually a mistake. That's why engine is also giving minus 3.1 rating. So we have captures, knight check, king moves away, and then rook captures. Even if white is ahead by 2 points, the situation very worse because queen is actually coming, and then bishop will come eventually to attack the queen. Queen check, king moves away, bishop attacks the queen, queen moves away with a check, king moves away, there's again an attack on the queen, so queen captures the pawn at g7, hitting on the rook. Rook moves away, controlling this whole file, and now the king can't escape to this square. That's fine. Queen moves away, and then we have bishop development. Queen captures the pawn at b7, and at this point of time, guys, it was checkmate in just 6 moves. So you understand, it just checkmate in 6 moves. Can you find it, guys? I will give you time. I won't give you time. You have to pause the video for this. Okay, so take your time and find out the checkmate in just 6 moves, because it's done for sure. The best move in this condition that black can play is knight d4, because knight was hanging, of course, but moreover, the more important is to control as many square as possible near the king. Therefore, our opponent plays rook c1. Why rook c1? Because there was option for bishop b3, check on this king, pawn captures, and then bingo, it's done for sure. Therefore, rook moves away, and then we have pawn to e3, controlling these 2 squares. Moreover, rook is also assisting the pawn. Now, king has only 2 squares to move, this and this, like e1 and c2. It's very problematic. The checkmate is within 7 moves now. White plays rook c3, just creating an interference between the d2 and queen. So instead, queen went for a check here, king moves away, and then queen captures on a2. Now queen to a1 is just checkmate because all the squares are actually covered, so rook has to drop back. So rook dropped back, and here comes a checkmating move. It's actually queen to a5, check on this king. Now king has no way to go. Rook can simply defend it, I know, but then we have just the same thing here, so that's fine. King moves away, and in this condition, this is just checkmate, khatam, it's just done. Moreover, there was option like this and then this and then this. So this is the main line how the checkmate will occur within the 5 move, but you know it's checkmate and it's done. So guys, the basic verdict of me using the Bahar Gambit in any match is not good. So guys, in my verdict, Bahar Gambit does not suit well for the players above 800 or 1000 elo. So I don't think you should use it. That's all for today. I hope you have liked this video. I hope you have liked the verdict. If you have any verdict or any comment in your mind, you have the comment box to answer. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, take care.